I'm Richard Porter.
I'm Johnny Smith.
And this is Smith and Sniff, a podcast in which two friends talk about cars and many other things.
Do you know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about the fact that over the last couple of evenings, I've watched a few things on television, and both of them have spiked my interest in the fact that it's mostly 70s and 80s movies and TV shows. In anything involving the military, there's always people holding on to the back of open-topped jeeps and things, stood up with an assault rifle, and there's so much trust in the brake and the clutch control, so that you don't just ragdoll off it. And it really troubles me every time I watch it, because I think, oh, they're going to just like stamp on the clutch, or they'll do something bad, really jerky, and you'll end up clanging. I say this because I've really badly hurt my hip once on a roll cage.
Oh.
Because I was stood up on a car that was running, and someone forgot who was sitting in. We were posing for a photo, and they forgot that the engine was running, and they put their I don't know what they did. They selected first and had the clutch down, and then took all the pictures, were chatting, and then just jumped off the clutch. And I was stood up, not holding onto the roll bar, and it lurched forward, and it smacked me so hard in the kidneys that my kidney went purple. It hurt so much. It was like someone had swung like a church bell or an anvil into you. It was horrible.
Do you ever do that, though, when you're getting out of the passenger seat of a car? It's sort of contingent on the driver and how good a driver I think they are. But if it's somebody who I'm not entirely confident in their skills, I always have a little look to make sure that they've put the car in neutral or park before I get out, because it is a sort of low-level fear of mine to be clouted by a car door as you're trying to get out of the car.
There's a level of mistrust there.
Well, I don't know. Is it? I suppose it is. I mean, that's the thing. If it was you, I would assume that you're not a fuckwit in a car, and you can perfectly well just keep it under control. But I don't know. I think it maybe is because years ago, do you remember that programme Driving School?
Yes.
That infamously gave us Maureen, that Welsh lady who was extremely terrible at driving. Yeah, but her
local clutch supplier was very, very pleased, I'm sure. Yeah.
She had, I think her husband had a Lada, didn't she?
That's right.
That's what she was learning to drive in. And there's a very memorable scene in that, which is hysterically funny, but also haunted me rather long. She is trying to park, and then he decides to get out to check that she's in the space properly, and as he goes to get out, they're stepping one foot on the ground, the door is open. She lets her foot off the clutch and the car smashes into his knee. And there's two things, this is imprinted on my brain, there's two things about it. One, the noise that he makes upon being smacked by a Lada door. He should have been a bit like Homer Simpson, and then angrily slams the door shut, at which point Maureen goes, "The car jerked," as if it was like something she had no control over.
Is that car still around?
Oh God, it'd be pretty easy to find out, because it'll be in the programme only. You can just check the reg and see if it's still on the road. But
yeah, I did watch. For those who care, I did watch an episode of Miami Vice last night, and it did involve some military vehicles being thrashed around with people hanging off the back of them. Could we call them militia or guerrillas? Let's call them militia or guerrillas in this instance.
Oh, good news. Driving School appears to be on YouTube. Driving School episode 1 certainly is on YouTube here, all 29 minutes and 14 seconds of it.
Oh, brilliant.
I wonder if the infamous... I won't watch it now because we're trying to do a show. But,
and you're hungover, which is why, if listeners are thinking his voice...
I should have apologised at the top for the fact that I sound terrible. But if there's any compensation, I feel worse than I sound, because I was in London yesterday for a meeting.
Yeah, a meeting, yes.
And then I thought, I'll meet some old colleagues for a quick drink afterwards before I get the train home. And they sort of spiraled into suddenly some kind of massive work reunion. It was really weird how it happened. But it's one of those best things, if you try to organise this, you'd have done it 2 months out, and then lots of people have gone, I can't make that date.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
Whereas, I very casually messaged 2 people and then went, we should probably invite so-and-so. And actually, he's told so-and-so. And it was just like, so loads of people showed up.
I think that's how men.
It was very nice.
That's how men operate. I think that's how men.
Well, there were women there as well. I think it's
okay.
A kind of a casual drink, but it was the classic. First of all, we started early because one of my friends had to go, so he went, well, I can be there at 5:30 if you're around. I was like, yeah, it's fine. I'll be done by then. So a bit of an early start, and then it was the absolute classic. Forget to have dinner because you're just in a pub having a nice time. And then
such an alpha male, Richard. So alpha.
It's an idiot, isn't it? I'm 48 for fuck's sake. I'm too old for this stuff. I shouldn't be going out boozing and not eating. But now I'm paying the price because I feel rancid.
I always carry nuts in my bag.
Well, this is the problem, you see. I didn't. I thought I had something in my bag. I thought, did I put an apple in there or something? No, nothing. At sort of 10 o'clock, one of my mates went, we should go and get some food. And I was like, I can't. I've got to go get the train now. There's a train at 10:30. I've got to be on it. And so I tore to Paddington Station, went into M&S and bought a massive bag of crisps, which... On reflection, they sell sandwiches and stuff. I should have bought like a sort of proper meal.
Yeah, real food
stuff.
I
just bought a huge bag of crisps in a rush and then got on the train and scoffed a lot while messaging you about what I was doing. And and here we are.
I don't know why I'm laughing because I had to have a tactical chunder last week, didn't I? After I had a sort of cider incident, but we won't go into that because it's not right.
That when you were messaging me and explaining, what did you say that you were doing? You were sitting very still, listening to Sting, while eating a piece of toast.
I ate a piece of Marmite on toast, one slice of toast. It took me. I'm going to say it took me 15 minutes to eat it, and I was still as can be, watching a couple of music videos of Sting. I don't know why. Fields of Gold, If I Ever Lose My Faith in You, etc., etc., etc. But I was still in the kitchen, just trying to compose myself after not that much booze, but obviously booze that just wasn't happy with me. Yeah, it was
we were talking about this the other week, like not on the podcast, but about. You messaged me about It's Probably Me, the Sting record.
The Sting track. It's from Lethal Weapon 1 or 2. Could be 3 actually.
Is it?
Yeah. Because it's got Eric Clapton on the guitar.
I'm gonna look the lyrics. It's probably me. Like, what's he on about?
I think it's a guff in a lift, a guffy smell. And
who's done that? Well, it's probably me.
It's when you walk out of the gents' toilets and someone else goes in and there's a cubicle. There's only one cubicle free, and you walk in and. I don't know, it just smells like someone's just poured hot kettle water over a pile of Weetabix, and you're like, oh, gosh.
It was on the soundtrack to Lethal Weapon 3.
There we go. I knew it was one of the weapons. I knew.
Eric Clapton played guitar on it, so that's...
because
that's
all of Lethal Weapon's incidental music is basically Eric Clapton just fretboard wanking throughout.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it all Clapton?
I'm sure it's all Clapton. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't like saying this stuff when you're next to like actual fact giving information because you'll go, no, Johnny, you're talking horse manure. That's not true.
Now the chorus of It's Probably Me goes, ask yourself who'd watch for me, my only friend, who could it be? It's hard to say it. I hate to say it, but it's probably me.
I'd watch for me.
I don't. What's he on about?
Well, does it mean the only person who's really going to look after you is you?
Yeah.
So, for example, if you've been drinking and you're nearly 50 years old and you've forgotten to have dinner,
yeah,
and you know what? I can relate to doing things as a middle-aged person, and you are sort of questioning it. Like last week, I decided to bump start my own car in the early hours of the morning on my own street.
What?
Yeah, because I wanted...
Why in the early hours of the morning?
Because the engine warning light had been coming on, and I knew one way to get over it on that particular Honda is to just...
Which is this, the Insight?
The Insight is to just instigate the pulse start, because when the engine warning light comes on, it won't pulse start. You know, like hybrids pulse start, where it doesn't use the starter motor, it uses high voltage to spin the engine up so it's totally silent. It was annoying me. So I thought, I'll just bump start it, and then it'll reset. It does do it if you disconnect the battery for an hour, and then blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'll just. It's a really light car, the Insight. I'll just bump start it myself down the street. So I knocked the handbrake off it. Looked down the road, a totally straight road, no one there. I thought, of course, couldn't put the lights on really. So I just pushed it as fast as I could, and it got fast really quickly because ever so slightly downhill. And then I suddenly realised I don't know if I'm going to, because it's a really low car, I don't know if I can jump in and get my legs into the pedal box quickly.
Oh my God.
And then I suddenly thought, oh shit, I didn't put the ignition on to 1 or 2 clicks, so the steering lock might come on. And then I was like, what am I doing? I'm nearly 45. What sort of a flute does this? But luckily I got in and put the ignition lights on, knocked it into second and dropped the clutch, and it was all good. But I sometimes wonder whether I'm the only man that does this sort of idiocy. There's got to be other guys who could back me up.
Sorry, what time was this exactly, roughly?
Well, it was still dark. Going to say it was 6 in the morning.
Oh, okay. You made it sound like it was 2 a.m. or something, and I was a bit...
Do you know what?
thrown by that.
Actually, no, it was before I went to bed, so it was probably about half midnight. Actually, it was about half midnight, because I was going to take the car out, get it up to working temperature, and then take it back on, put it on the drive. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm quite a strange guy at the moment, I think.
At the moment. Yeah, you just had an attack of strangeness. This is definitely not something you'd normally do.
I'll tell you something. We don't normally promote other podcasts on here, but I've been listening to Sport's Strangest Crimes on BBC, okay? I've been doing a lot of motorway work. Had a lot of 4-hour journeys. And
M work.
Yeah, M work. Exactly. Not M Sport, M work.
No, M work.
And in that time, I thought I'll hose some interesting podcasts down the years, and I have been. I didn't know much about Shergar the Wonder Horse.
Oh.
And I didn't realise that the Shergar the racehorse, which everyone's heard of, it seems, even if you don't know anything about horse racing, it's like people have heard of the DeLorean, even who don't care about cars.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Shergar, do you know Shergar got stolen? Or kind of
He was kidnapped. Was he not kidnapped by the IRA?
Yes, I think it's now proven that it was the IRA, but he was kidnapped, yes, from his groom and the farm, the stud, because he'd retired from racing, and he just started being used to mate with other horses, create sort of other wonder horses, I guess. Anyway. I'm not going to spoil it all for you, but...
Are you confusing Shergar with Champion the Wonder Horse?
No,
because I don't remember Shergar being referred to as the Wonder Horse at any point. He was a very good racehorse, but...
Okay, Shergar the very good racehorse, is that what you want me to say? Yeah. You stroker. Shergar the really successful racehorse. Okay, well that is a fact.
The fast horse, yeah.
Do you know I think he's still unbeaten.
I thought you were going to say he's still alive. It was like, how?
Sadly, he's not still alive, but I won't spoil that because I haven't actually got to the full details of that yet, although I do sort of know them because I sometimes read. But Shergar was stolen by 3 men dressed up as guarders, like Irish police, in a Granada.
What?
It's true.
They got a horse in a Granada.
No.
Saloon or estate?
No, it had a tow bar, you goon. It had a tow bar. So in all the news clips that they're using, and almost right at the top of this series, explaining all the strange happenings around Shergar's disappearance, You hear time and time and time again 3 balaclavaed men dressed up as Garda in a Ford Granada driving through the fog with a horse box.
Garda in the Granada.
I know, Garda in the Granada, but I thought Shergar's Granada sounds just... I don't know, it's 2 words that work really well together. Shergar Granada.
Shergar Granada.
Yeah, I know. Be a cool Irish bar name. But anyway.
Yeah, because it's sort of, you think, I presume that means something, but I don't know what. The Shergar Granada. Actually, it also sounds a bit like one of those very 70s hotels.
Oh, it does. With velour curtains.
Shergar Granada. We're going for a dinner dance at the Shergar Granada.
A dinner dance.
I bet they've got very velvety curtains.
And freestanding ashtrays.
Oh, God.
You know, those amazing,
So many.
Those amazing ones. They're just not a thing anymore, obviously. Love a freestanding ashtray. So I want to know, and I haven't discovered this. I don't know whether the Granada ever got found or fully identified with a reg number or anything. And I want to know whether it was a Mark 1 or Mark 2. I presume it would have been a Mark 2 by then, but it might not have been.
I'm picturing quite a late... What year was he kidnapped?
81, 82... No, 80,
okay.
83. It's 82 or 83.
Oh. So I'm picturing a late Mark II with the sort of less slatted grille.
Yes.
And those nice alloys. It's a gear, maybe even a Gear X.
Do you think they would have gone for auto so they could offer up the horse box a little bit quicker without slurring the clutch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it still a 3-speed on those?
Yes. Yes, it is.
It's a very slurry change, and the torque converter is getting a bit toasty with the extra weight of a stolen horse behind it.
Well, and a horse that was going crazy as well, sadly. You know,
was it?
It was getting... it was angry. And it was put into a small horse box, a much smaller sort of grim horse box that it was used to. Because obviously it was the most valuable horse that had ever lived. It was valued at 10 million quid at the time.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, bloody hell indeed. And it was owned by the Aga Khan, who owns hundreds of other horses. Yeah, who's nothing to do with cookers, I realised. I thought...
No. He's the world's richest man who has to be left running all the time.
That's right.
Total waste of money.
Even in summer, they just leave all the windows open.
Yeah, you've got to leave the Aga Khan on. I didn't know that he was owned by the Aga Khan. That's interesting.
And there's loads of controversy around that, which I won't go into because this is not the podcast for that. But yeah.
But is it?
Shergar was taken by a Granada. There we go.
I
sometimes feel guilty we don't offer enough fact into the Smith and Sniff podcast, so I thought I'd throw
and there we are.
I thought I'd grenade a few in.
Well, if you can find another car podcast that tells you Shergar facts that are car related, then
come and have a go if you think you're hard enough.
Yeah,
basically. But don't be dressed as the Garda, and don't be balaclavaed.
No.
Do you know what? Also, the 3 men, 2 of them were armed. One had a pistol. But the one that got out the car last and was behind the other 2 who appeared at the door of the horse stud had a submachine gun.
Bloody hell!
No pissing around there.
That's quite a confusing situation for the people there, isn't it? Because they go, "Oh, the police are here. I wonder what's up," and then they find themselves being held at gunpoint by people that they thought were the police.
Exactly.
Your brain would struggle to process what's happening.
And there'd been a really big horse fair on the same day, which meant...
Okay.
No,
right.
I don't know why you're laughing. Why is that funny?
All the horses were a bit pissed.
No.
It's been a big horse party.
Oh, yeah. They'd all been on the waltzers and they were sort of fighting with one another, and one of them, they're chipping one another's teeth out and glassing one another. No, that's not what happened. There'd been a big horse fair on, and they were trying to work out whether that was a tactical thing, because there were loads of cars with horse boxes all over the region.
Oh,
so therefore clever. It wasn't unusual to see a car with a horse box at that time, which is why they think they got away for many hours before the police.
Did they then take off their Garda uniforms? Because you think that would look odd. You go, look, there's 3 policemen in a Mark II Granada, we're assuming, with a horse box on the back. What's what's going on.
Yeah.
Again, there's a lot to take in here. Oh, look, one of them's holding a submachine gun. This is a very memorable scene. I'll certainly...
Well, they were relying on the fog.
Oh.
But also they were saying how the getaway couldn't have been quick because the fog was really thick and the rain was awful that night. So basically you're trying to get away with the most expensive horse in the world and you're doing like 18 miles an hour with full beam on.
Yeah, with full beam on. Putting the bright rear fogs on and then remembering that that's pointless. Unless there's one on the horse box, I don't know.
Oh, it might.
They're criminals. They're not necessarily going to wire up all the electrics for the trailer in the way that they should.
No, and lots of people don't. Which is really upsetting when you're following something like that. I'm still. What was there? We will move off Shergar in a minute, but I'm curious. Have they said why they were kidnapped? Was it just a pure ransom thing? They were hoping to get the Aga Khan to pay up. It was a ransom thing to get the Aga Khan to pay up, but all this information is already out. But I haven't heard all of the episodes, so it's not clear whether there was a revenge associated with this kidnapping with someone who was the enemy of the Aga Khan, which I think there was. And there was also someone claiming that the Aga Khan shouldn't have owned that horse. It was someone else's horse, and the Aga Khan kind of like group did a bulk buy on horses and got Shergar as well.
Who would be the nemesis of the Aga Khan? the microwave.
It would be, the induction hob who's up and coming.
Or just a proper fucking oven that works and you can turn it off when you don't need it.
Yeah.
I mean, the nemesis of the Aga Khan.
No, we're making light over a tragic incident, but I was really fascinated by Shergar's Granada.
Shergar's Granada.
So there we go.
It's something. This is a change of subject, and it's also essentially irrelevant.
Welcome.
But something that popped into my head the other day. I was in the car with Radio 2 on, and Sarah Cox played "I'll Be Missing You" by P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever he was calling himself at that point.
Yeah.
And I suddenly remembered the video to that song.
Oh, falling off the motorbike.
Do you remember how it starts? Falling off a motorbike, but like absolutely binning it.
Yeah. Front brake fully clenched.
But it's the thing. So when I got home, I was like, I'm going to watch that video again because I remember at the time, it was like 2006, I think that song, that it bothered me. I was like, why has he done that? What the fuck? Also, it doesn't seem to really make any sense in the context of the video. No. So it starts and it's Puff or whatever riding a superbike, sports bike
with no lid on,
with no helmet on.
Yeah.
On a sort of country road in the US. And then, just for no reason whatsoever, he just absolutely anchors the front brake and falls off. It's just, why?
Yeah.
Why have you done this?
Yeah.
I still can't make any sense of it.
No, and also, he could have just snapped both wrists. You don't have to be going fast to ruin both wrists. And then he wouldn't be able to do much in the studio for months. And that was, it was peak P. Diddy, was it not, when that came out?
Yeah, I think so.
So he would have been coining it hard.
Well, that song was huge at the time, wasn't it? It was. We're back on Sting.
We're back on Sting-related music matters.
It's Every Breath You Take is the.
Yeah.
It's not even really a sample, is it? They sort of looped it or nicked it, or it depends on your view. But yeah, I cannot fathom the motorcycle accident in that video and why it's there. But it's also deliberate.
I was hoping we would do a video at some point like that, so you can pick a motorbike, any motorbike. So yeah, you just have to pick a motorbike, everything from Hayabusa down to Cub, and you have to just grab a handful of front brake at about 34 miles an hour and just see what happens.
You've got a bike license, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. Don't make me do it. Please don't make me do it.
No, I'm not sort of putting you forward for it. It's just weird because I sometimes forget that you've got a bike license. It's like I've never ridden a motorbike. I've ridden a scooter.
Oh, but do you want me to teach you? Like a field bike? No. It's actually really liberating.
Would you teach me how to fall off like
You do. That's your Christmas present. You know, people go to like red letter days to do like, hey, to drive a Lamborghini Gallardo around the track. Yeah, great. This one's the P. Diddy riding school of basically no one's wearing... You're just wearing like a silk NBA suit and you're going to be riding along on a Suzuki GSXR and you've just got to grab the front brake and dive off somehow. That'd be really amazing. I'd love to see that orchestra.
He really goes down. It's so strange.
He goes down hard. He suffers for his art.
But why?
I don't know. I don't even know.
He's not wearing a helmet as well.
P. Diddy,
idiot.
Thingy who died. What was the chap's name that died?
Biggie Smalls.
Biggie Smalls. I don't think he was a motorcyclist, so I don't think there was a relevance there.
He was quite a big lad, Biggie, wasn't he? I can't picture him on a Hayabusa or something. It doesn't seem like that would be his style.
He was a big lad, hence the name, because
yes,
I don't think.
But then, confusingly, also his name is basically contradictions. Like Biggie Smalls is like tally shorts. What the fuck's going on?
Well, Smalls are another name for underwear, aren't they? So is he just called large underwear?
Large underpants.
I don't know. That's how I interpreted it, but I might have completely got that wrong.
Well, he was actually. I mean, he was the Notorious B.I.G. was his actual stage name, wasn't it?
Yes.
Was Biggie Smalls like a nickname?
Yeah. Oh gosh, people who know more than us will immediately be shouting at this podcast.
Baggy briefs.
Well, Notorious B.I.G. He's not going to be called that if he's very small. If he's 5'1", I mean, Kylie Minogue isn't called Notorious B.I.G., is she? So she'd be notorious something else.
No, I suppose not.
She's got a new album out, and she's more mucky than ever. I noticed lyrically.
Is she muckier than ever?
I think lyrically muckier than ever. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well. Wow, indeed.
Is she having a midlife crisis?
I think she might. If you listen to some of the lyrics on, which I have, yeah, maybe.
I heard the single, but the album has passed me by so far. Just because I'm playing catch up on music. Black Grape have got some new stuff out as well. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
No, yeah, they've got an album coming out. There's a couple of songs they've released. They're really good. It's like,
wow.
It's just, you can't beat the sort of glorious chaos of Black Grape.
Right, I know what I was going to ask you, Richard. I was going to ask whether there's two things that are in demise, and whether whether this is truth or whether it's just me who hasn't noticed. I think there's two things that are in demise. One, the OAP glove box mint. Do old people keep mints in the glove box anymore? Or does anybody keep...
I don't know.
...confectionery in the glove box?
I had my hair cut the other day and the barber, after I'd paid, just from below the counter produced a big bowl of sweets. But they were full OAP spec. And I took a humbug, a mint humbug in a clear, crinkly plastic wrapper.
Of course.
I thanked the barber and off I went. And I was walking back and... I'll have that humbug. And they're so gummy. If you don't suck them for about 2 hours, and you foolishly go, I've had enough of this now, I'm just going to crunch it.
If you crunch it. Oh, no, to stick to the roof of your mouth.
Oh, my God. Well, it just got stuck in my teeth, and then I was just walking along. You know, it's unseemly in public to start rooting around in your own mouth, but it was so annoying. And I was like, what? I haven't had a mint humbug for years.
Yeah, and then your tongue starts flailing around, doesn't it? So you look a bit strange.
Yeah, you do look odd.
So I wondered, do people still keep confectionery in the glove box? I mean, it's not a terrible idea to have something in the car to snack on if you're, I don't know, get stuck in traffic or something. But it's all the travel sweets, the travel mints was always a thing with older generations. Are they still doing that stuff?
I don't know. Now, a subset of that, those tinned sweets with lots of icing sugar in them.
Oh, yeah. They were good.
I guess was there to stop them sticking.
They were great.
They were great, weren't they? But can you still get them?
I think you can, because I think at certain petrol stations there's a rack to the side of the cashier, and they have the trad tins of travel sweets in them. It's like, it's for the person that doesn't agree with chewing gum. They go, no, I'm going to have that instead. And they're clearly not going to bother vaping, because loads of vape accessories now hanging around the same area. So I think they do still exist, but I want to know if people still keep like travel motorway work mints.
Well, now
basically.
I tell you what. Next time I'm in a petrol station, I will have a little scout round, and if there's some, I will buy them, and watch this for a seamless link. I will bring them to the next Smith and Sniff live show.
Oh my gosh!
Which is happening on the 7th of December.
Get out.
7th of December is a Thursday. And now we were desperately trying to find somewhere in Scotland we could do a show, because we feel like we've been a bit Anglo-centric.
We're still trying. If anyone can help.
We're still trying. It's
just can't
inexplicably difficult.
No, it is weirdly difficult. Poor Lisa spent months.
It's so strange, but anyway, we will do it. It's just that there's some sort of issues with trying to find a venue that is suitable and available and not insanely expensive. So in the meantime, we're doing a smaller live show at Stellantis headquarters.
You say intimate gig, you don't say smaller. More intimate gig.
Yeah, well, it's still 200 people, but we've sort of, in recent times, we've been doing kind of like 300-400. So but it's a decent size. Yes, you're right, an intimate gig. It's Smith and Sniff Unplugged.
Oh.
But, well, except it's not, because it's, as I said, it's at Stellantis HQ in Coventry. So there's going to be some fat beats and some lasers, probably not. I don't think they actually do have them.
Can we see if we can get some lasers?
We'll have to check. They have a new headquarters in Coventry, and their head of communications, who's a very nice chap and listens to this podcast, said, do you want to come and use our new sort of conference presentation room, whatever it is, where they do events for a live show? Because he understands that it's sort of Stellantis is an ongoing theme, a trope on this show.
We love Stellantis. We absolutely love it.
We do, and we're very excited to go and go to their headquarters, and we'll do a live show, because it's been a while since we've done one, so that's cool. So 7th of December. If you are a patron, you will already know this, because tickets went on sale on Friday. If you're listening to this on Monday, tickets are now on sale for everyone, unless they've all sold out over the weekend. We don't know, because it's Friday today when we're talking about this. But hopefully
we always give our patrons first dibs, because that's what being a patron is about.
Yes.
If you'd like to do that, you can do it from £1 a month.
£1 a month?
£1 a month. That's £1 every 4 weeks.
We've actually been told it's too cheap by a grown-up who's gone, what the fuck
we have
are
been
you
told
doing?
it's too
That's
cheap, but
stupid.
we're a bit British about
charges
it.
£1 a month. Anyway, something to address in the new year, maybe. But yes, anyway, so 7th of December, Smith and Sniff live at Stellantis headquarters in Coventry. Yeah. Hopefully we'll see some of you there.
Yeah. And some high-energy dance music, possibly, as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. Can't wait. It'll be full of lols and possibly travel suites. And
I'll try and remember to look around for travel suites.
Richard's going to bring a huge bag of crisps to share with everybody. Because that's what he does.
I'll forget to have dinner and then just eat a massive bag of beef crisps on stage. I've got something else to bring to the live show. Something that is going to delight you, I think.
Oh, talk to me.
No, I'm going to keep it a surprise. Probably gone too early because it's still a month away, but I should have made it. But yes, I acquired something this week that I think you're going to enjoy.
I'm really looking forward to this. No idea what it could be. I wonder if it's a tie-pin. I'm thinking it could be a tie-pin.
It is not. I'll tell you that it is something that my wife has already asked if I will be bringing it home again. And you probably don't need me to explain that the emphasis in her voice was very much towards the please don't end of things. Good. God. Well, where were we? Oh yeah, anyway, live show. We finished talking about OAP glovebox mints, and the other thing which I'm wondering whether it is in danger of extinction. Can you buy right now
a three-abreast seat car, passenger car.
You mean in the front?
In the front, yes, in the front. So we know about Fiat Multiplas, and I was going to ask you if you could list as many as you could.
Well, the Defender.
Oh, of course.
The current Land Rover Defender.
Ah, yes.
You can get three abreast.
Of course, you get the little buddy seat thing. Yeah. Is that it?
In terms of cars, well, because there's obviously vans.
Yes.
A lot of vans you can get with three abreast transits and stuff. But cars...
Yeah, it has to be a car because commercial vehicles too easy.
No, I don't. I can't think of one.
Well,
now.
look, guys. Here's the thing. I don't think there is, but I keep looking at Honda FRVs.
Oh,
there's one that lives near me because they were three abreast and they're a really boring looking car, but they're a 6-seater. There's quite a fascinating bit of packaging going on there, and I keep thinking I should find one in a scrapyard and buy the seats out of it for a rainy day.
For what?
Or to make,
For what?
I don't know.
A rainy day? What the
I don't know. To put them in something else at some point that's more interesting. Because I'd love it if my Element was three abreast. That'd be great. Because it's got the auto shifter on the dash.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking,
sort of
could I
halfway there?
Yeah, three abreast would be a wonderful thing, and then that would be a 6-seater as well, but with the sort of van-like, capacious, rubberized boot space. But apart from
interesting,
FRV out of production a long time, and if you've never looked at an FRV, which I never had because it's just it's a bit of a white good car, frankly, have a look. Really interesting frontal seat packaging going on
for many years. After the FRV came out, when it came out, they put out a press release that came with a picture of a happy, smiling family. It was taken from head-on through the windscreen of the car.
Yes.
Mum and Dad in the two outer seats, smiling merrily. In the middle,
yes,
young girl. But the framing was such, or the angle, that it actually looked like the smiling mum and dad had put their daughter's head on the dashboard. It was a really terrible picture. And it used to reduce TV's James May to hysterics.
Seriously?
So he kept it. Yeah, he would absolutely lose his shit. And so, like, the first time that we saw it, we just did a pile of press releases when we were going through trying to write the news for Top Gear. And he properly, like, we had to take a minute while James composed himself again because he absolutely lost his shit. But then we stashed the photo away somewhere safe in the area where we used to do all the news press releases and the writing of the show on a Tuesday. And if we needed to perk James up, we'd just pull the picture out and give it to him. And he would. I'll try and find this picture and put it on the Patreon because I'd like to see it myself.
I was going to say, could we? Maybe we could send James May a Christmas card, a Smith and Stiff Christmas card. That could be the imagery.
Yeah. Yes. That's a good point. We could just put some jaunty Santa hats on them.
Yeah, just some fake snowflakes on the edges, usual. I've just realised.
Now, I wonder. Yes.
Three abreast. Gordon Murray T50.
Oh, yes, of course.
I mean,
there have been lots of people shouting that before now.
Including people very close to that project who do listen to this here waste of time podcast. So, of course, the Gordon Murray T50 and, of course, the current Defender, which is an option to have the three abreast. Is there anything in between those two bookends? Is there anything out there on sale? And if there's anything weird and foreign market, I'm all ears.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. What about in the US? Anything?
There's got to be in the US, hasn't there? There's got to be something. What about JDM people carriers?
They do love a dashboard-mounted gear selector, so they're sort of match fit for having a middle seat in the front.
Match fit, yes.
But I don't know. I do wonder whether it's... Because I suppose one of the problems, and I don't know how they've got around this in the Defender, is airbag.
Have they got an extra big passenger one Or have they got 2 passenger ones?
I reckon it comes out and across.
Yeah.
Because otherwise there's a lot for you to twat your face on in the middle of the dash, isn't there? You've got the screen and the gear selector and stuff. I've bloody found the FRV picture. Yeah, oh my God, I
worry the amount of times I talk to you on this podcast and you're not really listening, you're just Googling something else.
Well, I'll tell you what I did. I went on to Newspress, the popular car industry information resource, which has an archive of manufacturers' official press photos.
Oh, wow.
And you can search by model. Here you go. Have a look at that. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like floating head in the middle.
It is a floating head, isn't it?
Yeah. And when I see that picture now, all I can hear is James, like, wheezing with laughter.
The other thing is that the man and the lady sitting either side have got really broad smiles on their face. I'd say the girl in the middle is forcing. It's like a forced grimace, or like she's sat on something uncomfortable, like a piece of sharp Lego. You know? This
reminds me, our kids have just had their school photos done. And did you find this with your children when they were a bit younger? My wife and I were discussing, I think we need to like give our children smiling classes. Because they can smile quite naturally, but when they're asked to smile on command, they pull some really weird expressions, and their school photos are basically terrible. You sort of buy them out of duty because you're like, oh, it'd be something to remember them at this age when they were in this school. But they fundamentally, they both look like they're being held at knife points. It's just awful. Grimace is a good word for it.
Grimace.
Our boy particularly, he's grimacing. He thinks he's smiling, but he's grimacing.
I think Grimace was a character who was mates with Ronald McDonald.
Yes.
Wasn't he?
Was he the sort of purple thing?
Yeah, he was a purple blob. I suspect he'd eaten too much processed food. And then just had no energy at all and felt really heavy. But anyway.
That's why he was grimacing, because he was very backed up.
He's extremely...
Like Elvis.
He's extremely backed up. And what he needed to just do is some jump lunges and have some syrup of fig. But anyway...
Jump lunges?
Don't do those 2 things at the same time, because that would be an awful idea. My mother-in-law refers to Pinterest as Pininterest. Yeah, Pininterest, and every time.
But I suppose that is what it's a portmanteau of those 2 words, isn't it?
Yes,
I hadn't really thought about it.
Yes, it is. But of course, she's obviously looked at it quickly and just processed it as Pininterest. So my kids always say Pininterest and then giggle because they both have Pinterest. And I sort of go through phases of looking and caring about Pinterest. But anyway, every time they say Pininterest, I keep wanting to say Farina afterwards.
Pininterest Farina.
It's just me being immature. Basically,
well, it's just the brain makes associations, doesn't it? Do you find Pinterest every so often I'll be doing an image search for something and it'll go, oh, here you go, I was like, oh, I really need a picture of a Morris Ital or something, and Google Images throws one up. You go, that's perfect, that's the one I'm looking for. You click on it and it's on Pinterest, and then it gives you like 2 seconds to look at it before it starts bringing all these boxes up, going, you've got to sign out to Pinterest. And I can't remember my bloody Pinterest
they're
password.
bastards. Yeah, they're bastards.
The only people that are more desperate are Photo Bucket. Have you ever had a Photo Bucket account?
Yeah, I've had a Photo Bucket account since about 2001. I've still got it. It's a relic.
But are they constantly emailing you and going, we're going to delete your pictures? No, seriously, we're going to delete your pictures unless you sign up and pay us money. We're going to delete your pictures.
Yeah.
And they keep doing it. And I'm like, no, you're not. You've been saying this for a year now.
Do you know what I used to use it for? I used to use it for uploading photos of things I was selling on eBay. That's what I used to use it for. Back in the day, before apps.
Back in the day.
And all that. Back in the day and all that. Don't you love it when people say back in the day and they're talking about something that was like 12 years ago? It's not really back in the day, is it?
Yes, well, I don't know. No, it's not, it's 12 years ago, well, 2011.
Yeah.
It's a recognisable time. Most things are about the same as they. Well,
that's not back in the day. That's not. It doesn't warrant back in the day. That doesn't.
But I don't think there's a sort of, there's no kind of back in the day ombudsman that
there should
gives
be
you strict parameters for what can and can't be referred to as back in the day. But I know what you mean. It's like it feels like it has to be a sort of noticeably different time, like the 90s would qualify.
It has to be significant. It has to be significant.
The early 2010s.
Yeah,
not so much.
Maybe Tudor time. Something like that. Well, you don't have to. It's no rule that you have to be alive in order to say back in the day, do you?
Well, of course. I used to behead people back in the day.
Well, they did though, didn't they? Hanging back in the day and all that.
Yeah. Well, they
were hanging in the 60s, weren't they?
Old Henry VIII, when he was king, back in the day.
Yeah. Massive change of subject. And it's something I wrote down months ago to talk about.
Tudor kings.
Yes. We could say back in the day. We could say this is a back in the day automotive observation. Back in the day and all. Back in the day and all that. Back in the day. Did you know that the Lamborghini Espada, of which I seem to find a few of them in barns, I don't know why, but did you know they did a VIP Bertoni edition?
Is this the one that's got a big telly in it?
Yes! Bloody hell, I knew.
Well, it's not a big telly, but it's a CRT TV, isn't it? So it's necessarily quite deep.
It's massive.
It's sort of a bit too big, really, for the car, because the interior is not huge.
I'm fascinated by this car because it's so of its time back in the day. 1970, Mr. Bertoni presented it at the Paris Auto Show. The Bertoni VIP Espada, equipped with a colour television. A
colour television?
I think it was a colour television. A mini bar. And when I say mini bar... But, bearing in mind, the roof line of an Espada is 1.1 metres from the ground. This is not a high car.
It?
Yeah, it's a really low car, but yet it can fit 4 adults in it. And I proved it because I've sat in them twice. It has a minibar in the rear quarter panel on one side, which actually looks fairly hearty. And then it has two-tone leather interior. And there's a couple of other... It looks like extra quilting on the centre console, because this television is bolted to the centre console, and it's got one of those aerials, like a huge circular aerial that you probably snag your slip-on shoe in as you're getting in and out the back.
Yeah. I've kicked my telly with my loafer again.
Exactly.
Am I remembering this right? Did it have some kind of where the back seat behind the passenger, it had some kind of recline, or you could stretch out the...
I think you could. I think you could push the... I don't know. I can't remember what positions the seat went in, but yeah, when you get in an Uber or a...
and they've got the passenger seat right forward.
The seat is almost sort of pushed into the glove box. And I went in an S-Class the other day to an airport, and the passenger seat was so far away, it was like a distant memory. I couldn't even see where it had gone. It was like... when you look at a completely straight railway track and it just tapers and disappears into the distance. Yes. They were like the chair rails of the passenger seat. It's just gone. It's just gone.
That's gone. But then, have you ever done that? You call an Uber or a minicab, and there's 4 of you, and so one of you has to go in the front passenger seat. I often call shotgun because I'm often the tallest, but they've got it right forward. You end up basically having to feed your legs into a tiny slot. You're basically trying to post yourself into the car.
Oh, you sit side saddle. I do a bit of side saddling so you don't smash your knees on the glove box.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's probably full of Murray mints.
Well, no, I mean, if only they still made the Honda FRV, because potentially you've got a bit of a USP there as an Uber driver.
Yeah,
you can take 5.
Yeah. Talking of,
I mean, obviously you could just buy a Ford Galaxy and take 6, but that's not the point.
Talking of central seating and all that stuff and glove boxes. Today, if you're listening to this on Monday, the embargo is lifted for the new Volvo EX30 launch, which is actually, there is an episode out on the Late Break Show. I'm not just saying it for blatant promotion, but what I'm saying it for is because that has a central glove box.
Ah.
Yes.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
Now, I've been reading about this car, and I was talking to somebody else that we know who has also been on that car launch.
What, instead of me?
I forgot to ask you about it because I remembered you were going to... Was it Barcelona you went to?
Yeah, we went there and it was pissing with rain. And I sang Barcelona by Freddie Mercury the whole time, just for morale.
Hang on. Didn't this happen to you before? Didn't you go drive the Honda E in Barcelona and it absolutely lashed it with rain?
That was Madrid, and it was it was 80 mile an hour, sort of palm trees actually being uprooted on the seafront territory. That was, yeah. Right. It was not great.
No, there's no seafront in Madrid. It's inland.
Oh, well, it's not Madrid then. It was another place. Actually,
Barcelona, that's by the sea.
I'll tell you what, mate, back in the day, Madrid was by the sea.
So the rain in Spain falls mainly on Johnny.
Oh, I have been to... I've been on Spanish located car launches where the weather has been abysmal many, many times, to the point where I'm over it. I'd rather just go to Cumbria.
Well, you actually believe that Spain just has shit weather.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Anyway, so I'm keen to know, now you can actually talk about it, I'm keen to know about this EX30 because there's a lot of cleverness has gone into it, hasn't there, to make it sort of not just cheaper, but more efficient to build in the name of being more ecological. I won't give the whole game away. It's been a very eagerly anticipated car. I think the headlines are, this is the cheapest Volvo you can buy, and it's also the fastest Volvo. What?
Yeah. So...
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So you don't normally see these two things together, right? So, if you order it with the twin motor, it'll do... In fact, I can rustle some papers. I've got the twin motor performance. You either got single motor small battery, single motor extended range, or twin motor performance. 0 to 62 in 3.6.
Oh.
Fast AF.
Yeah.
But the single motor extended range, which is the one I drove because I think that's the one that's most relevant because I'm not massively interested in twin motor cars, is a 300-mile range EV. And it's Volvo's cheapest new car.
Yeah, that's the interesting bit as well. This is like entry level.
It's one of the best looking Volvos, and loads of, as you said, really interesting reused, upcycled materials and sort of championing a different look. I mean, they're not the first car manufacturer to do that. You've seen things like the BMW i3. It's one of the things we love about it. It has those raw strands and textiles inside, which I'm really taken by. But yeah, it has loads of that going on, and I just think I think it's a very, very decent car. I've just given the game away, haven't I? I've just said I like it, so you might as well just not watch my full review.
Spoiler alert. Very minimalist door trims, but then with that very big, like an old 50s fridge almost, as a handle I noticed release on it.
Yeah, it is. It's like a brushed aluminium, but interesting, goes into the kind of coach line of the door. It is very cool, and sculpted out door cards, like you said, like my Insight has, to get more shoulder room and the chimney. So central electric windows at the front and the rear.
Which is quite unusual these days. So one of our patrons actually mentioned this in the comments the other week.
Yeah.
He said, can you name any cars that still have central electric window switches? And all I could think of was that EX30, because I'd noticed it, but they pointed out that Fiat 500
Jimny
still does, and the Jimny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the 500 does.
But
yes.
I presume with the EX30, it allows that very minimalist door, but it also is a cost-saving thing, because if they put them in the middle, then they don't have to change the wiring for the right and left-hand drive.
It's exactly that. And that's why the glove box is in the middle. And there's other really clever things to make it more ambidextrous and also less wiring, which means less weight, less cost. Yeah. So I think the whole remit for the car is just fascinating, but it doesn't feel like you're being shortchanged like we've seen with some manufacturers who have cut costs, and it kind of shows. #Volkswagen. So, I mean,
yes.
They've worked hard at it, and I think it's really good. When you watch the video on the Late Break Show, all I would say is just bear in mind that the intro and the outro were filmed in a really murdery ex-quarry full of fly tipping. It's like 6 feet to the left of me, massive pile of fly tipping. Behind the cameraman, like just more piles of terrible fly tipping in the hedge than you've ever seen. Although it was a good piss vista if you looked out towards the sea.
I'll bear that in mind when I watch your review, which I will do because I'm interested in that. Is it big? How big is it in real life?
No, it's small. I'll tell you exactly how it is. It is 4.2 metres long from extremity to extremity, and the wheelbase is 2.65 metres. And it's really not very high. It's 1,549 mil high. So it's not. Okay. All I'll say is they're selling it as an SUV. It's not an SUV, and that's why I like it, because it's just not. It's just a hatchback car that sits probably
golf size, sort of.
Yeah, it does. It does feel like that. Yeah, it's got a very, very cut off vertical bum. Again, I like that about it. Hasn't got the most legroom in the back, and it doesn't have the biggest boot, but it's got a lot of other things which make up for that, and neither of those two things are excusably bad. So I'm down with it, is what I'm saying. Cool. I'm down with it.
Yeah, no, I like the look of it, and I am keen to know more, so I will watch your review. We just talked about a car.
I know. Should we talk about something else instead quickly to counter that?
No, because it's time to end. And we've been going a bit long recently, so I thought we should probably try and shut up now. But before we do, we've got three things to tell you. One, Johnny has a solo YouTube channel. It really is called The Late Break Show because I haven't thought of any stupid thing for it this week because my head hurts. And there will be a review by the time you hear this of the Volvo EX30 up there, so go and watch that. Anything else we should know about?
Well, the video that went out a few days ago, you might not have seen it if you haven't. It's a barn find of a lovely, fascinating guy called Ed, who has a Renault 5 Gordini Turbo, which he kept under 15 blankets for 20 years. I know this because I counted the blankets as we took them off the car. And,
it's
a lot of blankets. And a really cool guy, actually, who is a David Bowie fanatic. So we were talking about David off camera. We were talking about David Bowie constantly throughout the day.
Oh,
and he even admitted to me he has a sort of Bowie corner in his house. It's a bit of a shrine. And sure enough, he showed me, and I went, bloody hell, you weren't lying. There is a Bowie shrine in your house.
Oh man, because I love Renault 5 Gordinis and I love David Bowie. I wish I could have been there. I love blankets as well.
Yeah, I'm a big blanket
happily
fan.
Helped you take them off. They're good, aren't they?
Yeah.
All right, well, that's that. Second thing, I've got various books out. One of them is called How to Be a Motoring Journalist by fictional car writer Roy Lanchester. Go and buy that. Why not? And the third thing I've got to do is we're all familiar with the popular Irish band U2, but in fact, two of U2 were born in England.
Were they?
Yeah, guess which ones?
I'm going to say The Edge.
Ding.
And I'm going to say Larry.
Ooh, it's Adam.
Was it Adam? Damn it.
Yeah, you see, I think you can sort of tell with Adam Clayton because he sounds not quite Irish, but The Edge really surprised me. I should have known this because he is actually Welsh, I think. His parents are Welsh. He was born in England. Oh. And then the family moved to Dublin. So he's not Irish at all. He just grew up there.
Do you know, I've decided that there's a lot of bands, big famous bands, people they think it's cool to dislike them. Well, I think U2 are fantastic, and I don't give a shit what anybody says.
They are.
If you ever play, on shuffle, like 20 hot singles by U2, you're blown away every time. I don't care what people say.
I'm completely
you put Where the Streets Have No Name on, right? And you don't have the airs up on your back while you're driving the fucking transit to do some groundworks. I think you're dead, mate. You're dead. You ain't got a pulse.
I prefer the Pet Shop Boys version.
Oh yeah, they did, didn't they? I actually prefer the Pet Shop. I prefer the Pet Shop Boys version of the Elvis song. Is it You Are Always on My Mind?
Yeah, Always on My Mind by Pet Shop Boys is way better than the Elvis song. It is, isn't it? It's one of their best songs.
It's a great version. Or rendition. Would you call it a
very
rendition?
Uplifting track. Rendition, yeah, you could call it that. But yeah, it's brilliant. A little bit of trivia about that. They did it for a TV show where they got contemporary bands to cover Elvis songs. And I think they originally were going to try and do a house music version of an Elvis track called Baby Let's Play House, just because of the title. and then they realised it wasn't working, so they went, oh, fuck it, we'll do Always On My Mind. And it became one of their most successful singles. Well, anyway, that's quite enough of that. But we will do it all again next week. In the meantime, there may be still tickets on sale for our next live show on the 7th of December, and hopefully we'll see you there. But that's it for this. Until next time, goodbye.
That's this one done in. Thank you, please. Bye.
You know just what to do. Like and subscribe and review. You know just what to do. Like and subscribe and review. You know just what to do. Like and subscribe and review.
I was having a Woolard moment there at the end. I was teetering on the precipice of talking absolute horse shit. Basically in Nottingham.